Veterans Day. We have two wonderful veterans right here in Wesley and Mike. So glad to have you guys today. Glad you're out there. Glad you're tuning in. Like us, share us. We're just never too proud to ask for that. So, yeah. So, Mike, you put something funny on Facebook today for your fellow Marine Corps, right?
It was actually yesterday because it's the Marine Corps.
Can you tease those guys?
Yeah.
Nobody gets mad at you guys.
That's the thing. It's with branches. You can, the banter back and forth, but when it comes down to it, we all have each other's back. So it's a running joke that Marines, they eat crayons. So I said, my son's been eating crayons. It looks like he has a promising future in the Marine Corps. All my buddies love that from the Marines. So yeah, they didn't give me too much crap for it.
I saw it and I laughed. And my wife goes, "Should you be laughing?" I go, "I don't know. I think it's if Mike posted it."
Yeah. What is this about?
Mike always has a funny personality. Yeah. So I was just gonna give a shout out to our tech crew, and I think Mike's running. I did that on purpose. So Mike's got boots on today, and he's running back to his seat. He was turning off the lights. So we wanted to give a shout out to the tech team today. We got Nathaniel Tweed, our director, sitting there. Then we have Mike Harvey. And Mike, you got some talented help there with you, right?
Yeah, not that you're not talented, Mike.
Mike Green's full of it today.
Dude,
full of what? No?
These guys that do all the hard work, I got to tell you, but...
You are?
Man, I couldn't do it without him.
Mike, you did an amazing job. You're a little out of breath there. I saw you back there.
I had to run to the back. There's a lot of things going on.
Well, if the audience could see this setup, they would see why. I walked in and thought, what is all of this stuff? I don't even know what it is.
They do an amazing job. Nathaniel Tweed and Mike, we had an event on Tuesday night. They were here. We were here till about 9 o'clock getting some lunch break specials. We're going to drop some lunch break specials probably next week, so keep an eye out for that. We have a video we want to play for you real quick just to welcome and thank our veterans.
Recently.
I suffer, with PTSD.
Just won't go away for a long time.
I hope that you think twice about what you are doing to this nation's veterans who are willing to die to protect this nation.
If the Army asked me to go again, to be deployed again, I would absolutely go.
I may give out, but I never give up.
I like that. Hey, can I put you guys on the spot?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Of course.
Yeah. And you guys both gave a lot. Thank you guys for your service. Thank you to all our veterans out there. Thank you, Mike Harvey and Nathaniel Tweed, for getting that to come on up. So
appreciate that, Tom.
Yeah. Well, there again, I appreciate you guys. I didn't serve. It was something kind of interesting about 1976 high school graduates. We were coming out of the Vietnam War, and it was just a lot of, and so our class got excluded from the mandatory draft.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think we were the only high school class, maybe 77 too.
Well, they've changed it to now selective services.
Yeah, selective service. Yeah.
Better name for the draft, right?
Yeah. So it was just something that was part of what we did. So glad to have you both. Mike has been a guest on our show.
Yep.
Almost a year, maybe. You think, Mike? Or
less than that, probably. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. So you're going to be seeing, since we are season 2, lunch break, we're having rotating hosts. So what I've done is I've brought in a lot of the guests from last year who, I just kind of say, hey, let's be guest hosts. And so, you're going to see some of them come through. But we're also dropping 2 more shows, right, Mike Harvey? We're dropping 2 more shows. And can we talk about those, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So Mike, we're dropping Kingdom Business. I hope Kyle's going to keep that.
It's a working name. I know he wants to do it for sure, and we're planning on it. We're in production or planning stages right now, but
Yeah, we're going to go into production in 2 or 3 weeks. What that means is
we're excited about it.
He has a show, Kyle does, and I'm going to host it with him for a while and give him bon voyage, but it's going to be on people that bring in kingdom principles into their businesses. So even their jobs, what they do every day. And then we've got another one, I think, with Brad Lawson. We're going to be doing called Follow Me. It's kind of a discipleship show that we're going to be doing. So bringing a lot of guys, and Mike, you're a guest on that too. So
Awesome.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
So it is. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up. Pastor Ron and I talked yesterday, and God's Stories is we're going to film some episodes, and Vince Sierra's out there. He's our
Excited to see those.
Yeah, I know. We've got 6 filmed, and Pastor wants to film 3 more next week. And I know Mike Harvey didn't even flinch. Mike just Nathaniel's smiling down. They know how we are. So
We got a busy schedule.
We do, and that's what we're doing. We're going to produce more video content for you guys out there. So, last week's guest was Trevor. I'm going to try not to mess this up. Last night at our dinner, I messed your name up, and Mike Harvey called me out on it, and I have a lisp, but it has a little more to do with brain than it does anything else.
I don't know if it has anything. Look at that last name, how it's spelled. I think anyone's going to mess that one up.
Trevor Martinson, right, Michael? Trevor Martinson.
Sounds good to me.
Martinson.
Look at the spelling. What do you think, Wesley?
Yes.
You said you were going to get it wrong, and
I did. So it's a thing with my brain
called
too.
Oh, I'm sure he's been dealing with that his whole life. Look at that spelling.
Well, last week I looked up a few articles about him in the newspaper, and they spelled his first name with an ER and an OR, and I asked him which one is it, because I answered all of them. So, but Trevor was on last week as our guest, and we went to an event last night.
Yeah.
Where Trevor hosted it, and it was for 911 at ease. And the question that came in for our audience last week, it came in overwhelmingly, and I got to, I'm the chaplain for 911 at ease, and so I got to open it up, and I let the people in attendance know that we got to get the word out, because I had overwhelming response from our audience about my family member, my husband, my son is a 911 responder. How do I get services for them? And I'm a spouse of a 911, because last night, Mike, did it impress you?
Oh, it really did. So you invited me to this. I thought it was going to be something a little bit more local and small, and I walked in, and it's this huge event, and more so of what they're doing. So they're giving free counseling for first responders, from your firefighter, cops, the hospital staff, and whatnot. But I was talking before we got on air about how, as men, we're prideful, but especially in that line of duty, that line of work, that people don't want to seek counseling because they don't want to be labeled. They don't want to mess their career up. But these guys get free counseling. There's no limit on sessions.
None.
Their families get it, and it's all free. And I think they said there's no wait usually. They reach out, they get the counseling. And some of the testimonies that the people shared there were pretty incredible.
It was.
I forget the gentleman's name who spoke first.
I think it was Mark.
Something like that.
It was a Ventura County.
30 years on the job, just incredible things. But we talked about the stigma with mental health and people not reaching out.
Yes.
To have something like that's confidential and there for them for free, and their families, and ongoing.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Mike, that's your academia, right?
Yeah, that's
Counseling.
what my background got. And that's when the clinician stood up. I looked at Mike Harvey, who was there last night. I said, you notice all of the people standing up are women, because in the field of therapy, predominantly it seems to be dominated by women. So men, we're the minority for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know me, I'm trying to drag you wherever I go,
Yeah,
Mike.
exactly, right.
You know that about me. So does Mike and Nathaniel. So there again, I think we have the number and the website. So if you're out there, 911 at ease, there is a phone number, 888-283-2734, and the website is 911AEIORG. Oh, I got to move the bag. Oh, I forgot to thank, oh my gosh, thank you, producer. Thank you, Mike Harvey. I forgot to thank La Costa. La Costa has some tasty food for us here.
Oh, I can smell that this whole time, and I'm hungry.
Well, Nathaniel Tweed went to get it for us, and thank you, Nathaniel Tweed. But La Costa is a great family restaurant here in town. 2 locations, I believe. And this is from the one on Callaway and Stockdale. Yeah. And so the family down there, Adriana and Chelsea and Maria, what's the mom's name? Michael?
I think he said Maria.
Maria.
Yeah, it's Maria.
Yeah, they do a great
Sorry,
job. That's okay.
The microphone here.
Mike's supposed to help keep me on my toes in this show. Well, this is not scripted. You're hearing is brutally live. So thank you again, La Costa. If you guys are out there today and you want to get a tasty meal of really authentic Mexican food, seafood and everything, go to La Costa's and enjoy. enjoy.
It's a great day for your spouse too. Just so you guys know, it's a great location.
Yeah, no
Take
kidding.
my wife
Yeah.
there, so.
Yeah.
Nice little ambiance, good spot, little
Yes, sir.
waterfall fountain out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in a real nice location.
Yeah, it is.
So, Wesley,
Even the ice house one's a great location. Too.
you're committed now.
Yes, sir.
Where are we going, huh? Yeah, your wife's out there. She said,
Yes.
I like that.
Date night.
You like food?
Yeah. So we also want to start something new. We are going to partner with Lucky's Rescue. So Lucky's Rescue is out at JEH Ranch and out off of, I think it's Mountain View Road out there. Not Mountain View, Round Mountain Road. And they have a Lucky's Rescue. And what they are is actually they are a closed colony. That's what their vet calls them, because the dogs that are coming into them are quarantined when they come in and they get their shots, and therefore they stay there and they don't go out. So it's limited exposure. I know right now there's some things going around the other shows, but we have a picture of a dog that's available to be adopted, and his name is Clay. Do we have a picture of Clay right there?
Clay Martinez is his name.
Do we name him Clay?
Yeah, we gave him a last name.
Oh. So Meredith, you're out there. There's Clay. Now, Clay has a very interesting DNA because they do a DNA on all their dogs. Mike, can you read that? Your eyes might be better than mine.
Yeah, so he's Chow Chow, which is 42% roughly, 30% American Pit, has some German Shepherd, Siberian Husky, and a Rottweiler. That should be an interesting combination. Just the Chow and Pit alone. That's a cool dog, right?
Yeah, it is. I like
really
that.
cool, super cute little dog.
Yep. So there again, if you want to know more about Clay and you'd like to adopt Clay, you can call out to Lucky's Rescue, and I believe they have a website that they have. Again, they're up there. So I think the guys will put a website up there. If not, it is Lucky'sAnimalRescue.com. Just trying to help out the community. People doing some nice things around the community. John and Meredith do a great job out there, and so we're just giving them a shout out. So if you're interested in Lucky, we're going to do a shoot out there too, aren't we, Mike? I think we're going to do a live shoot out there.
Very cool.
Mike, am I keeping you snoozing?
You got me on my toes today, man. This is exciting. But yeah, we're hopefully we were chatting with Meredith at the 911 at Ease fundraiser last night, and hopefully we'll be able to get out there and do some stuff, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like that.
Did some really cool stories with horses and other stuff too. So it'll be a fun show.
I like that. So Mike, you got a responsibility sitting in that seat as co-host.
So lunch break, a common thing we ask is, something that people may not know about you. We've shared some things in the past. So we like to ask our guest, Wesley. So what is something that even the members may not know about you that do know you at church, or just something that you want to share?
Well, you brought that up earlier that some members have been colorblind.
Uh-huh.
I happen to be one of those as well.
No way. That was just such a random thing because Mike Maggard and our city fire chief, Anthony Galgeza, both were colorblind. So...
Yeah. It's weird. It's pretty weird. I didn't know I was colorblind until I went to go get my test for the military and stuff like that. And they were like, "Well, do you see a number in that light?" I'm like, "What number?"
Yeah.
Like, there's supposed to be a number that pops out. I'm like, "Nope." I'm like, "Oh, let's try this one." Nope. Oh, this one. Nope. I'm like, they're like, "Okay, got it. You're colorblind." I'm like, what? How does that
Nothing
work?
to disqualify you or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
But obviously.
No kidding. Huh?
Yeah.
But I know Mike Maggard said that when he would see colors, it'd be just a different shade of gray. Is that how it works with you?
No, I actually, I'm unable to distinguish type of colors. So oranges, greens, yellows, they kind of like mix together, and I'm like, that's a yellow, and when it's a green or stuff like that.
So what about tracer rounds from bullets?
They look the same. they were like, they're like, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah. You just know they're coming at you.
Yeah.
Or not coming at you.
Are they different colors?
Yeah, they do have different colors. Yeah. I was joking.
Does it distinguish anything?
I'm not sure. Does it, Wesley?
I mean,
duck.
Like
green,
training, or maybe
the green ones are, and then the red ones are supposed to be the enemy, right?
Okay, yeah, something like that. That's why I always refer to them. And I'm talking with another vet offline, and I was like, man, I'm like the least knowledgeal vet on many things. I was talking with Mike last night.
I'll steal your pin.
I don't even. I said I barely got a pistol for the first time. Everybody just assumes vets, and we have a bunch of guns, and
I like
it's not
that.
knowledgeable in a lot of that stuff.
I like that. Well, Wesley, it's not holding you back in life, is it?
No, absolutely.
No,
not.
you've lived a lot of life. I think we have a picture of your family. I've got some of your members here today. I think we have a picture of your family up there. Right there. Who are we looking at there?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm carrying the baby right there, the baby of the family, the little princess.
Oh, she's princess.
Miss Destiny, she's 2 years old. And then there's Catherine and Brianna and my wife behind. So we're walking. There's a trail behind Kernville. I can't remember the name of it right now, but we're just walking that little trail to the Kern River.
The beauty in our backyard, right?
I like it.
Yeah.
I think we have another one because you have quite the large family too, extended
Yes, we
family.
do. Yeah.
No extended. How about the next one? Where I think you guys were there at Valley Bible Fellowship on no, don't have that one. We didn't get that one. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right on. So we're going to move into service. How about that? So I think we have some of your. Yep, there we go.
Oh, yes,
Look
sir.
at that stud.
Yeah.
How old were you there?
A young man.
You know what? That was one of my last pictures I took. So with legs in Iraq. So.
With legs.
With
Yeah,
legs.
I like that.
So I was 23 years old.
You know, I get uncomfortable when you guys say that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
'cause
yeah,
Mike,
so-
I've known you for how many years?
At least 5 years, yeah.
You know-
Since I moved back to Bakersfield.
Yeah,
Yeah, about 5 years.
Wesley, I got in trouble at Cal State when I was when Mike first came to our campus because I asked him to help in the parking lot, and people would come
Well,
in.
I asked to get involved, and I
Yes.
said anywhere. And like, hey, naturally, parking lots are cool. I don't care.
So
Wherever.
people would come in, they'd be mad at me, and they'd go, "Couldn't you find something for the guy in the parking lot to do besides moving signs?"
100-pound umbrellas that don't blow over in the wind or whatever it was. Like, come on, man.
And I was like, "Wow, you know, Mike, he went out there."
Yeah, he asked. I didn't tell him.
And you know what? He did a great job with parking lot, and people loved Mike
They
when he
loved
came
Mike
in.
out there.
He really
Well,
made people feel welcome.
You know, it's a good plug for just getting involved. I just came and I said, hey, I wanted to get involved. I wanted to be accountable, and you know, that's Wesley's a member
Same
there too.
thing.
And you know, you serve, you're accountable, and you show up.
But you guys talk about your injuries, you know, and and I think that's something that might be. Is that common where people are kind of like standoffish, or are they waiting to see how you're going to respond to them?
At times, yeah, I think so. For me, most of the time, I like it when they have kids because the kids will break that ice.
Yeah.
They go like, hey, what happened? I'm like, what do you got? Cool robot legs.
They'll tell you like it is, right?
Yeah. Like, come here, let's talk about it.
What was
And
that?
what does the parents usually do in Wesley?
Like,
Shh, don't talk. Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah. Because children are blunt, like Wesley said. I love that, man.
Yeah.
And they got pure hearts, right? The Bible talks about that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I love that, and I think my baby's just starting to notice that,
Yeah.
She sees that difference, and she's, I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago for Halloween. She asked me, "Daddy, you have robot legs?" I'm like, "Yes." "Are you a robot?" I'm like, "Yes, ma'am."
And it's funny. I was talking with Wesley. I went over to his house last weekend, and I said that I was like, they don't notice until they're about her age, about 2.5, 3 years old, is when they start saying, "Hey, this guy doesn't have an arm, or his legs are." They just start noticing. It's funny. They don't notice before that, or they don't acknowledge it anyway.
Yeah.
You guys are two super guys. You guys are. So there again, you said that was the last picture with legs. And what was your duties?
I was my last deployment. I was a team leader for. I had my own team of guys. I said infantry team leader with the 101st Airborne.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you hear about that, the 101st Airborne. Isn't that the big red one?
No. We're the Screaming Eagles.
Screaming. That's right.
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about. With it literally has the big red one.
Big red one, yeah. So we literally have a Screaming Eagle on our shoulders. Yeah. So that was my unit. I did 2 deployments with them, my last 2, and I love it. That was
Your guys.
yes, sir.
And the next one.
That was one of the first ones. That was taken on a little disposable camera, and it was in 2003. So.
Where was that taken? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Somewhere in Iraq?
Somewhere in southern Iraq. That's all I know.
Okay.
Yeah, like real south.
I do know, and this is something that I hear from a lot of veterans, that you develop a real kinship, with the guys you serve with.
Yes, sir.
I know, Mike, that you just did a rafting tour with the Wounded Warrior guys, right?
Yeah, went up and took a rafting trip, 3-day trip down the Rogue River up in the wilderness, and that's what I was actually going to talk about with Wesley. We met at VBF probably about a year ago or so, maybe even less than that, and just veterans and that shared camaraderie, and that goes with any group of men and women. If you have a shared experience, like we were talking about last night with the 911 at ease, these people that have shared experiences and go through similar things, and just wanted to maybe touch on that, Wesley, and how the veterans group came up that we started at the veterans group that we're doing weekly.
Yeah, that just came up in Adrian Monheim. he was like, "Hey man, why don't you get something going for you guys?" I'm like, you know,
Adrian is not bashful, is he?
No, he's just like, just do
Adrian,
it.
if you're watching, we love you.
He's all about just do it life,
Pull
like,
you in.
Love that
bend
guy.
it, yeah. And he was like, just see what you can do. And I ran into this guy, and we started talking, and then met Mike Springsteen.
Yeah, Mike's great. Mike, you back there, dude? Yeah, there's Mike back there.
Yeah, and so it just kind of just came alive, like right there. But it was a little bit of talking, like, okay, how are we gonna do this? Where? And guy just said, "Hey, veterans group, just keep going with it. Just stay with it. Stay with it." And he put a time and a day in my heart, and I'm like, all right. I put it out to the guys, and we've been going strong for a while now, for a good 3 months.
Yeah, the cool thing is I love
2
this
months?
Bible study. So I'm involved in a couple Bible studies. I go with you, Tom,
Yeah.
and a couple other guys, Phil and Keith and everybody. And this one on Monday, it's really cool because sometimes, I mean, we're doing the same thing. We're reading from the devotions that we have, but man, we're cracking up, and it's just some of that military humor that, and nothing vulgar or anything, because we're in Starbucks. We want to represent ourselves accordingly. But man, it's so fun. I laugh, I think, more in that Bible study than any other Bible study I've been to. It's good times, and sometimes it's 3 or 4 people. Sometimes it's about 8 to 10 people. Sometimes even.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
It's good to get together, isn't it? Mike Harvey and I were having a discussion yesterday with somebody, and they were talking about just men with special issues, and they asked me, do we have a group for that? And I remember Mike, and I think Mike Springs told me, and Mike Springs said, come on stage so they can see who I'm talking about here. You never know who you're going to get on our stage. We have a live audience here, and everybody's come down here. Mike Springstead's been with us for, just come on in. Come on in. Just look at that camera there because it's a wide shot. So you
Throw up a gang sign.
So Mike,
If you talking on the mic.
Yeah. So Mike, you're with these guys, and I remember both of you told me one time, because we had and I'm not saying anything against things like this, but you said when you get guys that may have PTSD or something, don't lump them together. Maybe bring them in a group where they're diffused, and then just put them around some guys that can just help them through it. And you guys were saying, we've been through it, we can help them through it. You said if we lump them all together, there's nobody to, sometimes they get lost.
I mean, you definitely have to have someone, if maybe to lead it, but in our groups, there's usually not a problem.
You guys are all 3 leaders.
Even if you've got amputees,
Uh-huh.
there's a great way to think about it, right? You've got Mike and Wesley, amputees. If you've got other amputees, they get along great. The guys that don't have that outward injury, right? Because PTSD is a big inward injury.
Because it's traumatic brain.
It's not easy to just assess where they're at mentally. And so putting them around a bunch of group of guys who have anything and everything from amputations to, burns or anything else, it helps diffuse it, because I can't experience what Mike and Wesley have, but they may be able to experience what I have mentally, or traumatic brain injuries or anything like that. So yes, it is great to get a group of guys that aren't just PTSD or traumatic brain injury.
Well, I could probably say this, because you guys are all my friends, that all of you, including you, Mike Springstead, have been blown up.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this is a cool story, and this is a good segue, exactly what we're talking about. Mike and I met at Cal State when we were still over there, and we'd, talked, and we had both served in 3rd Infantry Division, just veterans in general. But then when we went to the men's retreat up in Sonoma, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, me and Mike talked, and just talking about PTSD and stuff like that. And Wesley can probably attest to this when people ask me about that. It's funny as this sounds to people not experiencing an amputation or something, I was like, this becomes an inconvenience. And the PTSD oftentimes is more difficult to deal with, and the battle upstairs. And, that goes for anybody. Trauma's trauma. That's not just veterans. Wesley and I were talking about that off air beforehand. And a woman who has cancer, or our baby who had cancer and died, do you think her trauma is any less serious than ours? It's different, but trauma is trauma, And that to me, someone told that to me sometimes, that really stood out. So I think vets connecting, whether it's an amputation or whether it's maybe they got blown up and they got some stuff going on that you can't see physically, or they've got post-traumatic stress or anything like that. It's just getting vets together, or anybody, these groups, these Mighty Men groups that we do, or these Bible studies, anybody, we all have our own story, and you get people together that have a shared experience, they're going to flourish,
Yeah, that's what I love about you guys. You guys are always up for a battle. Mike, you're always with me. I'm Scott. You're always
Okay, yeah, we got Mike
tried.
sitting over here.
Yeah.
We've got a chair for him. Thanks, Tom. I invite you up here. Microphone, no chair.
No, it's a blessing to be able to take what we've learned in the military, right? It's you might have a specific job. 11 Bravo, 12 Bravo. He was a tanker. 18 or whatever it is. I don't know
19.
what it is. 19. But we all do it all, though. We all rake rocks. We all pick up trash. We all, can go serve chow. We have all these other taskings. It's not just our one job aspect, right? What's great about that here is we might not flourish in one aspect, but we will be open for anything because we're all used to it. We're all used to doing whatever's asked of us at that time.
I like that. I like it.
That's awesome, Mike, and I think that's what he does here. He's been volunteering here for, as far as I know, more than 5 years probably, right?
Oh,
Yeah, about 2015, 2016, yeah.
And he does everything, right?
Everything.
Wherever he's asked, yep.
well, yeah. So I used to tell some of the guys we're glue. Remember I say that? Remember the glue on the bicycle tires? You'd put it in there, and if it got a hole, we'd fill it.
Yeah.
That's what we are. So I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, Michael. Thank you so
Mike.
much. So there again, we've got another picture, and got Nathaniel Tweed on a break. Our tech team's trying to get going. So we have you in the hospital bed. Tell us about this.
Yes, this is after I woke up after getting blown up and losing my legs. This is the nurse crew that helped me out in
Where was that at, Wesley?
Landstuhl, Germany.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I went through there.
Yeah, and they were amazing. I really wanted to thank them, and they were top notch there and amazing people. They were like the lady on the right was the one when I first woke up, and I'm like, whoa, all right, and I saw my hands and everything, and I'm like, she's like, whoa, hey, thank God you're alive. I'm like, thank God too, lady. And she was like, well, do you know what happened? I'm like, I got blown up. She's like, well, yeah. Like,
That's what Mike said one time. Yeah. I got blown up.
Yeah. And she's like, do you know your injuries? I'm like, nah, it was something real bad, I guess. And she was like, yeah. And she started proceeding to tell me what happened. And I'm like, well, all right, well, she's like, and it just evolved from there. And she just, just kind of like, okay, well, I'm here, I'm alive. Hey, that's all that matters. Where are my guys? Like, my next question was like, where are my guys?
That's thinking like a team leader, huh?
Yeah, like what happened to my
awesome.
kids? Like I wanted to know. And he's like, well, one of them is here. I'm like, oh, my heart sank. Like, but he's fine. And he walked in. I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. And it was just one of those things that once I knew my kids were okay, I could worry about myself.
What was it? A roadside bomb? IED?
Yeah. Pressure plate ran over it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What were you in?
I was in a Humvee. I was sitting behind my driver.
And what year was this?
This is 2007, December 20, 2007.
So the armor was just starting to get a little better, but still clearly not good enough.
Yeah, so we were just getting the MRAP vehicles, which is
Okay.
the mine-resistant vehicles with the V-shaped bottoms. And I actually went to a class to Baghdad for it. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to be in an MRAP, so no big deal. And then we
And that's
come
what you got
back.
hurt in?
No.
Oh, okay.
So we come back, and they're like, no, this person's getting an MRAP, that person. I'm like, I went to the class. So like, no.
But you don't get one.
Yeah, like you just got to show people how to use it. I'm like, oh, great.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I was in a Humvee, and everything happens for a reason, and God was there. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, I think when you went to your last rafting trip, you ran into the medic that served you. And
that was
I know
really
you were
cool.
telling me that.
Yeah, that was an awesome story. That was a God moment too. And this guy is a born again Christian, and for 19-year-old medic at the time to see what he's seen. I mean, we see, depending on how long you've been on deployment, you see some pretty gruesome stuff and some heavy stuff. This guy, it's his job to see that day in and day out. So you can imagine the
trauma
toll
he
it takes
had.
on him and the trauma.
Yeah.
And so it was a really good learning experience for him, and to be on that with me, someone that he took care of and saved my life. So it was really cool running to him. I hadn't seen him in probably 10 years since, because we had a reunion. So it was, I was injured about 17 years ago, but we hadn't seen each other since about 10 years ago at a reunion. And talking with him afterwards, it did a lot for him. And that's what we talk about. It's all about the camaraderie with this group and leaning on one another. And also in these Bible studies and these Mighty Men group we go to, I love, and going with you, Tom, having people with knowledge and experience that you can lean on. And I told the guys the same thing. I said, I love coming in here because sometimes I read something and I go, I didn't get anything out of that. And then this guy has this really insightful thing. Man, that's awesome.
That's what I came for.
I love it. And that's what it's about. And hopefully, I always get my cup filled up. Hopefully I'm filling others' cups up when we're doing it. And that's what I love. And that's what this is very powerful too. You get to hear people's stories. And so when you see them at church, it's not just seeing a face and, oh, I know a little bit of that guy's story.
I love it. I love it. As we go on, we have some pictures of what you like to do now, too, Wesley.
Sure. Yeah. I love the outdoors and just.
That was a great picture.
Yeah, that's just walking on snow with my. Well, actually, we were out there fishing.
Where's that at?
In the Eastern Sierras.
Okay.
So, that's with my dog Abby, and it was pretty cool. Trying to see if we could get some fish. She loves going out there and getting the cold water.
What's that next picture? Do they have that one? 'Cause that one's probably more fun.
Yeah,
for you. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's my first second big game kill. It was an antelope.
Is that the one in your house?
Yes, that's the one hanging on the wall. So I got an opportunity to go out to Montana, Lima, Montana, with a friend who's a veteran, and he signed me up for this hunt, and I got selected for it, and I was able to get this antelope, which was just pretty awesome, cool story on how it all came together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
My son, we walked into his house. Dad, what's that? I'm like, antelope, I think, Wesley? Or is it an impala? I don't know. Antelope, sure, okay.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. And we have the next picture.
This is during the bike ride in 2012, and it was a nationwide cross-country ride. And this is the very beginning, the first day, leaving Bakersfield to Washington, D.C.
You rode to Washington, D.C.?
Well, almost all the way, but yes, yeah.
You just take different legs of it. That's impressive, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, sir. And, well, it's a God story because on that first day of that ride is where I met my wife. Not my current wife.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, like, you never know, like.
Was she riding too? Or?
No, she was actually at a stop, and she was just there, and she was like, well, cool, and.
Just out supporting veterans?
Yeah, out supporting veterans and had the family out there. And so it was such a cool thing because we were friends for 7 years before we started dating. And so it just became one of those things like, well, that day. It was that day.
Yeah.
So we'll stop here because some of our audience may hear this. So 7 years before you got married.
Yes, sir.
Did you learn a lot about each other?
Yes, we did so much, well, too much actually.
You got married.
Yeah.
You always tell the youngins, you don't be in a hurry.
Yes, sir.
Make sure I always tell them, make sure you know each other for a year because, somebody can't hide something for you a year. I mean, if you're going to see a bad mood or anger, an attitude, or a trait that you don't like, I always tell people, hiding those things like trying to hold a beach ball under the water.
Yeah, it's going to come up.
It will come up. So if you give it some time, you get to see these things to make a decision. Is this a person? And it's not a bad decision. If this person I want to live with,
yes, sir.
till the Lord takes me or takes them. And so I always tell the youngins, so if you're out there as a youngin, make sure you know the person before you do get married. I was really proud of my daughter Tessa, and you met Danny last night. And they've been dating since I think their sophomore year in high school, and that's equaling like 6 or 7 years. So they're going to get married in June of this 2022, and really excited to have Danny be part of the family. But they got to know each other, really well.
Yeah. Well, in our situation, we both brought. I don't like calling it baggage, but we brought our kids, and we have baggage from previous marriages. There's our own personal traumas. So it was kind of like we got to see each other in going through that process, and got to be in the lives of our kids. Yeah. So. One of them, my stepson, Nathan, he's sitting right there.
I know.
Yeah, he likes riding motorcycles, so that's why he's got a
sling.
He's got a sling. Yeah, he broke his collarbone last week. So
that's when you're young, right? When you're young.
What's this picture here, Wesley? Who's this?
So those are that's the group that I surrounded myself with, and it's my brother-in-law, Anthony Herrera, my buddy Jeremy, and my buddy Nelson, and they were my groomsmen for our wedding.
Wow, your Bible study buddies were your groomsmen.
Well, one of them, Anthony Herrera.
Oh, sorry. Anthony's a good dude.
Yeah, so I had to get I had a different group. I had my veterans, and I had my family and Bible study buddies. So I had them all be a part of my life. And I need my 4 men there with me stand with. So
Very cool.
I like that 4 men. Then we have from the last men's retreat too.
Yes, sir. That's our Bible study Friday evening Bible study group.
Savages.
Yes, sir. And Adrian made us a shirt for us to wear, so it was pretty cool to be out there and just share that together. Because last time we went to a men's retreat was 2 years ago, and for myself, I was a little bit standoffish to a lot of people. I knew Adrian and I met Ronnie, which that's how our Bible study group kind of started growing. And but I was a little standoffish. But God said, "Hey, I'm gonna give you an army. I'm gonna build you an army." And I was like, "Okay, God, I trust you."
You have to trust him, right?
Yeah, like, yes, Lord. And I'm like, all right. And and little by little, it started coming up, and those men of God right there keep me going, and they give me. We stand with each other, and we give each other that strength that we need.
I love it.
It's a solid group of guys, huh?
It is. The next picture, I want to quote about this real quick. As you bring up this next picture, this is something that you do over at the East Brundage campus. You baptize people.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And I want to stop here. Mike, where are you going this Sunday?
Yeah, so it makes me look really good, right? So I'm bailing out. I'm bailing out of church to go to a football game.
Yeah.
and Wesley actually knows the guy Craig, so he said to reach out to you, and I was like, yeah, I'll reach out to him. A friend of mine. And Wesley's like, actually, we just got the baptism machine fixed, the tub, so I'm going to be baptism and can't make it. I was like, well, that's a pretty good reason, I guess.
Turn down a football game because you baptize. I mean, so that is important. You're out there and you're baptizing people because they're making a decision to identify with Christ openly and publicly.
Yes, sir.
So what drew you to that volunteering position?
Well, when I got baptized at BBF, that was the moment I decided, like, okay, there needs to change. And it was right after the first men's retreat, and it just began that walk with God again. And Pastor Hector and Mondo were the ones
I love
baptized
Mondo
me. Yeah.
and Pastor Hector.
Yeah.
Good to have two better guys.
No, so they were the ones that did me in.
They
there
dumped
after,
you.
Yeah, after a man, what do you call the man cave?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so on a Saturday morning, and just did me. And so it was just starting that, and I saw the importance of that, because when I made that decision, I'm like, hey, we're gonna do. There was like 7 other men that got dipped on the same day.
I love that.
And I was like, this is something important. It's a transition. And it's part of the walk. And talking to Pete Whiting, he was like, hey, this is what our ministry is. This is what we do, and this is why it's so important. And I love it. And I love the I don't like just doing something for no reason. I love having a reason for it. Yeah. And once he gave me the reason why it happened, I'm like, I love it.
What's cool is that, as a church, that we have a church, and, Mike volunteers here at the Northwest. You volunteer over at the East Brundage campus, and Mike and Nathaniel volunteer here. Volunteering, I mean, you can't run a church without volunteers.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing where, as we start following Christ, we follow him to do that. And Jesus said, be baptized.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And that's what you did. You followed it. I always tell people, there's an element to baptism. I do believe, it's like we accept Christ into our heart. Jesus says, "Be baptized." We should be baptized.
Yes.
And when you go under the water and come out, it says we're a new creature.
Yeah.
I mean, we come under in identification of the death of Jesus Christ, but when we break the water coming out, it's the power of the resurrection. And I do think there is a lot of things that God can do in that. And just we always kid that you've helped me with baptisms at the campus, Mike, that when we unplug the water, that a bunch of stuff drains out.
Use that as a metaphor. I like that.
Yeah. So it's not just that. So I love that. Thank you very much, Wesley, for volunteering.
I love serving. That's one of the things that my wife, when I started going to VBF, she's like, just sign up and serve. I'm like, I'm not a good person right now. I can't do this.
Yeah.
She's like, just get in there and do it. I'm like, no, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
But I reluctantly signed up, and I did it, and then it was just one of those things, like, God just started working, like, no, you got this, and I serve as a greeter and serve in that baptism ministry as well. So it's two ministries that give a lot back as well.
Well, greeting is the first line of defense. I mean, it really, when people come in, you never know what they go through. The only one beyond that is the parking lot.
Yeah.
I always tell Rod over here, Rod Stansbury, give him a shout out, that, he's the first person. People have bad days, a smile, a handshake, and that's like greeting. Smile and a handshake can make somebody's day.
Yeah.
Right? Well, you never know what they're coming into. They never know. They may have just lost a loved one, had a traumatic illness in their life, something. And so that greeting ministry is huge.
Well, you know what, too, like I mentioned earlier, I think it keeps you accountable as a congregation and going. It's like, I don't feel like going tonight. Well, people are counting on you to be there.
Yes.
Like, hey, I could have turned an NFL game down to go do that. It keeps you going there. And it also, my brother told me this. My brother used to volunteer before he moved to Texas. And he told me, he said, you'll see really, really quickly how small the church feels once you get involved.
Yes.
Because we have a big church, but once you're involved regularly, you'll see really how how small it feels after that, and in a good way, because it starts to be more intimate and you get to know faces and walk in. My wife said the other day, she's like, I love that walking in and, you know, and people know us. And she's like, and I know they, you know, we've been going here long enough, but I love that people know our names. We just did our baby dedication for my son finally, you know, with everything going on. But, yeah, it keeps you accountable. So that's why I always tell people that's a good plug to. And for the veterans, we meet at 6 p.m. Starbucks across from In-N-Out on Stockdale. So we meet there every Monday at 6 p.m. But another plug is just get involved.
Get involved.
Get involved.
It's funny because I get to see over your left shoulder, Keith, and I see over your right shoulder, Phil.
Yeah.
And they're the greeters here. And as you come in, like you said, they're always there, smile on their face. So it is.
Yeah, especially So especially right now with when we're coming back from this COVID stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like people don't know. Is it a handshake? Is it a wave?
It's confusing.
Whatever you want,
Air
brother.
bump.
you want a hug? We'll hug it out, man. Like it doesn't matter right now. You know?
I love that, Wesley. Is there anything, Wesley, you'd like to leave with our audience or share with them just before we sign off the air?
Well, you know, just like Mike said, you know, get involved, get on there. You know, God will move it, and God will get you going in there. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve."
Yes.
God gives you that. God will provide that.
If you wait till you're okay, you're never going to get in.
Yeah.
I tell that people all the time. If you're waiting till you consider yourself to be ready, you're never going to get in.
Yeah.
Get in right on the way.
I love that, Wesley. We're all our own worst enemies, right? And we always feel, I'm not good enough to do this. I don't know the Bible well enough to go to a Bible study. You don't need to.
Yeah.
You can come in brand new. We got enough people with enough wisdom to help you out there.
Yeah.
I love it. Wesley, thank you for your service to our country and to the church. Michael, it's always a blessing to be with you.
Definitely.
Again, I want to tell you that we're an Encourage production, media production, executive producer, Mike Harvey. Mike, you did a great job today. I know we gave you a little hard time.
Thank you, Mike.
Nathaniel Tweed, thank you for coming in and helping Mike and holding down the fort. We want to thank Tessa and Taylor Touchstone for the creative ideas they give us every week. So nothing else, Mike? You have anything you want to say, or just
happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there.
All the veterans. Thank you for your service. Take care. Been good coming to you. God bless.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.